Hi, I'm Randy Schrader. This video segment is called PBS, or Private Business Screening Basics. And my simple thought is this: there are no new mistakes in FGX. There are new people making old mistakes and old people making old mistakes. So let's consider just for a moment what might get us to a private business screening. We have this ladder of escalation, as I call it. There's a pattern of activity, a proven and predictable pattern of activities, and it goes as follows. Step number one is to enroll in FGX. You can hardly do it wrong. We have to take it a step further. It's not just to enroll, but to enroll in FGX and determine why you did it. What drives you? What's your purpose? What defines this moment? Not just enroll, but determine why. What is the goal? Why is that so important? Because unless we have a clearly articulated understanding of why we do it, then when the first bump in the road comes along, we stop at the bump instead of powering past that bump. Why? And by the way, the content I go now through is that same content in the launch program itself. So step number one is to enroll in FGX, and step number two is to place an appropriate initial order. Here I don't do a new member orientation, simply a quick recap of what gets us to a private business screening. Step number three is to create an auto-ship foundation. Step number four is to acquire the tools and learn the process. Step number five is to build belief. Build belief in what? Build belief in our company and the opportunity. Build belief in our product line, in the process itself. Maybe most importantly, build belief in each of us as individuals. Step number six is to create a candidate list. And remember this, it is a simple activity to write down a list of names. It is a skill to so live our lives such that our candidate list grows in front of us day after day. Step number seven is to learn how to invite. Invite to do what? Invite to have a tool talk. Invite using a properly constructed script to let a tool talk. Step number eight is to present the business. And so here we arrive at private business screening basics. Now there are a few ways to present the business. We might present the business in a Skype conference call if we are not geographically close. We might present the business on a one-on-one basis in a coffee shop. There are a variety of ways. Here I focus on the private business screening. This, by the way, is the principal leadership development process in the entire direct selling industry. Those people we see standing on large stages with big audiences, I promise you they started first in living rooms with small audiences. That's the way that it goes. The way that people learn, grow, develop, and become what you see on stage, by and large, happens in living rooms and in people's homes. So the private business screening, what is it by its definition? The private business screening is when you open your home on a very regular basis, every week typically. I open my home and I invite candidates, people to look at the business, to come over to review these 5 elements that are required for success, which are so well defined in FG Express. They come to learn what the business is. In order for this to be effective, one should never arrive at a private business screening without having first had a first look. A first look at what? A first look at a video of some kind. A first look at an FGX product. A review of a website. A first look that gave them some idea of why they're coming. One lesson I've learned is that I only want to talk to people who want to talk to me. And by extension, I only want you to talk to people who want to talk to you. If the audience is warm, people are in the room that want to talk to us, they're there to decide yes, then of course they will. And so the first step on this ladder of escalation is to introduce the business concept, letting a tool talk. The next step is to get together in a private business screening. This is when we open our home and invite a handful of people over. Now, a perfect private business screening would be you. It may or may not include a member of your upline, and it would then be 7 qualified candidates. What makes them qualified? The fact that they have already viewed a website, or they have listened to an audio, or watched a video, or tried a product. That's what makes them a qualified candidate. Minus that, they're not a qualified candidate, and the likelihood of a positive experience is dramatically reduced. And so, now we have this number. What is the magic number? The magic number is 7. Why is 7 better than 8? I don't know. Why is it better than 6? I don't know. But I've been doing this for 20 years, and that's the correct number. When we have 7 people who are there, that are 7 qualified candidates, and by the way, those 7 people might be 7 couples, or it might be 7 individuals, the number is still 7. 7 potential new distributorships in the room. That is the ideal number for a private business screening. When there are 7, here's what will happen. By the time we're 2/3 of the way through, at least one of the 7 will be nodding affirmatively, will be laughing, will be suggesting this would be fun to do at my home, and the interactions of the other candidates have as much or maybe even more to do with each other candidate's decision as the presentation itself. It's just the way that it is. Candidate A impacts candidate B as much as the person who's delivering the information. And so we've got these 7. They got there because they've already reviewed something. Now, when I said that there are no new mistakes, there are new people making old mistakes and old people making old mistakes, I'll give you a couple of quick examples. What time does the 7 o'clock meeting start? Simple question, isn't it? It starts at 7. Not so very long ago, I did a presentation in a town in Southern California. A person that I had personally coached and taught, who should know all that there is to know about how to effectively conduct a private business screening. 7 o'clock comes. He'd asked me to come and help him. 7 o'clock came, and about 7:05, I said, "So Jim, what time does the 7 o'clock meeting begin?" And with 5 people there listening within earshot, he said, "Well, my most important prospect is not here yet, so we're going to wait." And of course, the other 5 decided at that instant they were done. Now, I'd like to tell you that's the first time that's happened. It's not. There are no new mistakes. There are new people making old mistakes and old people making old mistakes, and that's an old one. Here's the key. The most important prospect is the one who shows up on time. That is the one who honored us. They came when they said that they would come. And in fact, I'm a little bit militant about this. I tell people if they come late, they're not invited in. You may not be quite so militant, but the fact is that I honor those who honor me. The 7 o'clock meeting starts at 7 o'clock. Now here's the next key. I said that a perfect presentation would be one that had 7 candidates in it. What I've discovered is that we shouldn't bring any new chairs in. Most of our homes, our living rooms, will accommodate 7 people. And if we've got 9 chairs set up and 3 people come, it looks very obvious that 6 people aren't here that we thought would be here, and that damages the perception of those who are. And so we simply leave our living room or whatever room we're going to conduct the presentation in as we live in it. And if one more person comes that can sit in it as we live in it, then we say, "Oh my gosh, I've got to grab another chair." And that changes the dynamic considerably, as opposed to having 2 or 3 empty chairs there. And by the way, when a person walks in the room, what will they experience? If you come to our home, Samantha does a lovely job. She's sitting over there. Samantha does a lovely job, and she has some very simple snacks set out. But we're aware of the fact that when someone comes to our home, they are being taught what they must do. And if a person comes in and sees an expensive layout, they see, "Wow, this costs a lot of money. What am I teaching them? I can't do that." Everything that we do as a leader in this business is teaching someone else what they must do. Snacks are fine. Expensive snacks are not fine. Here's another simple thought for you. Alcohol is not good. I don't mean alcohol is not good, period. You can make your own choices about that, but alcohol in business presentations is not good. People will not make sound choices. It will add a sum total of nothing. So we never serve alcohol at these business presentations. By the way, I'm not here on an anti-alcohol crusade. When we have friends over socially, alcohol is served for those who want it. I'm saying in business presentations, it never, ever, ever helps, and it sometimes hurts. And so we have sparkling water, we have cheese, we have crackers, there are some other nice snacks. Simple things, easy things that you can likewise do. Here's the next thought. Turn off the ringer on your cell phone. When business presentation time comes, you turn off the ringer on the phone, because now it is time for you to be focused on what's going on. What if you have seen the video play 15 times? You sit and watch it as though you've never seen it. When the exciting moment comes, you tap the person next to him and say, "Wasn't that great?" And by the way, that leads me to this next thought. What will be your presentation method? What will be your presentation method? One of the challenges that I face in creating a replicatable process is that, among other things, I'm a professional communicator. I talk. Sometimes I talk on stages with large audiences, and it would be a temptation for me, and in fact, in some respects, easier for me to invite people over to my home and talk. But remember this, every single thing that we do is teaching someone else what they must do. If I were to deliver that business presentation, then the next person, that newest person who's just hearing the information, would perceive I have to have all that knowledge in order to effectively do this. I have to be comfortable standing in front of a room and delivering this kind of information. And so I don't do that. What I instead do is I gather people together and I hold something in front of me as though it were a script, and it might very well be, to illustrate that they can be scripted. And I tell them what I'm doing. I'm showing you can do this too. And holding this sheet of paper in front of me, I say, "Thank you for being here. I know you could have been somewhere else tonight. Let me show you in the next 15 or 20 minutes what I'm so excited about." And then I push play on a video, or I may choose to advance through a series of slides, reminding you every few moments that what I'm doing, you could do too, could you not? And if someone says, well, then let's talk about this again. We're simply pushing play on a video or advancing through a set of slides. What we must create is an eminently replicatable process. If we don't create a replicatable process, then our business message will only be as big as we are. When we create a process that can replicate, a process that easily duplicates, then our business model can spread around the world. Those ripples can spread. Things spread from east to west and north to south, both ways around the globe, once the process repeats. Until the process repeats, it's only as big as we are. And so, we utilize an eminently replicatable process. We notify people in advance what time we will start, and we notify people in advance what time we will finish, and we honor that. Remember, every single thing that we're doing is teaching someone else what they must do. If we spend all night with them, then we're explaining to them that every time you host a private business screening, you're going to be up all night long with these candidates, and your children are going to feel abandoned, you're not going to get other things done. The vast majority of people who participate in our business are part-time for the first 2, 3, 4, or 5 years. We must show people there is a replicatable process that can be conducted in a relatively short period of time. Private business screening basics. By the way, what about your dog? What about your cat? And over the years, I've loved my dogs and I've loved my cat, but every single time my dog or my cat gets close to me, I wear a lot of black. I don't know if you can tell that I wear a lot of black, and I don't like dog and cat hair on my clothes. I don't like it if it's my dog or cat. I especially don't like it if it's your dog or cat. If you have pets, my challenge to you is that before you do a private business screening, that you make the house even more clean than ever before, because what could be worse than having a great prospect show up who happens to have an allergy to a dog or to a cat? Ruins it all. It ruins it at that moment. What if they don't have an allergy, but they're just like me? They don't enjoy having someone else's dog or cat hair all over them. This might seem to be a little bit nitpicky. How successful do you want to be? If you want to be really successful, then my suggestion to you is that those animals that we love so much be out of sight and out of mind during these business presentations. What about small children? No one loves babies more than me, I promise you that. No one loves little children more than me. And I love it when they're a part of the presentation at the very beginning. This is my child, this is my grandchild, and they're all so sweet and they're so wonderful. But then child care is arranged for the body of the presentation, upstairs, downstairs, back in a different part of the house, where they're not disrupting. Remember, we're going to keep this confined to 1 hour from start until finish, and it's totally appropriate if we're going to grow a large and successful business to introduce, to integrate the family into it, but then let's have child care for the children. Okay. Simple things. Easy mistakes to make and easy mistakes to avoid. Private business screening basics. Know what time you're going to start. Know what time you're going to finish. Honor start time, honor finish time. Understand that your home needs to be set up in a replicatable fashion, and it needs to be set up such that if a person walks in, they have no idea what size the crowd was designed to be. If one person comes, fantastic. It's a great one-on-one. They don't need to see 7 chairs that were set up and that remain empty. If 3 people come and only one, and the living room is set up the way you live in it, everything's great. And if 7 come, and if 8 come, and if 9 come, whenever you got to go pick up and bring one more chair, then that's a perfect look. Simple things that make the difference in success and failure. Turn off the ringer on your landline if you still have one. Turn off the ringer on your cell phone. Turn off the buzzer. Turn the phone completely off. Understand in advance, know in advance what your business presentation style will be. Will it be a flip chart? Will it be pushing play on audio? Will it be slides? Whatever you do, use something that is specifically approved material by Forever Green, by FG Express, and go straight by the book, item by item by item by item. And at the conclusion of the presentation, just like this, at the conclusion of the presentation, on a scale from 1 to 10, where does your interest lie? If your interest is something greater than 7, I would like to get together with you so that we can make this personal. Let's stop talking about what the business is and talk instead about how we do the business. I'd like to guide you through a simple 10-step process to get started effectively in the business. Can we meet tomorrow at 10 o'clock? Private business screening basics. What I know is this. Whether or not you're aware of it, I'm completely aware of the fact that a kind and loving God has graced you with every single talent required to succeed in magnificent fashion. That's the good news. The more challenging news is this. Talent makes absolutely no money. Skill does. Those talents, when refined into skills that become beneficial to others, assure great success for you in this business. Here's what I know. You can if you decide to. See you at the top. Thank you.